Hi everyone,
Yeah.
I'm back here with Luke.
Hello.
Uh, we're a bit late. It's Euros is done and the SSL in China is also done, and
Yeah.
we're gonna do another podcast as a follow up. So let's get into it.
Yeah.
Um, Luke, how did you feel at NAC, and what do you think went wrong for you?
Yeah. So if you were watching NAC, you saw I didn't quite perform how I wanted to. So I kind of had three big finals that I was in that I had a good chance of a podium or a win or something. So there was OH, 2x2, and then 3x3, and that was the order I did them in. And I was feeling pretty good on OH at the comp, and I went into the finals, and I had a very high chance of at least podiuming. I
Yeah, you
basically
had
just
a
had to
decent
get,
chance of winning at one point, I think.
yeah, I had a good chance of winning too.
Yeah,
Because I pretty much just had to beat Max Park, and
yeah,
he's pretty
just had to be
consistent.
Max Park. Yeah,
Well,
very
yeah,
easy.
just that, so it's, yeah, something I don't know if I ever have done in an OH round, but just had to do that. But
Yeah,
I was solving decently, but I think my last two solves or something, I got like my worst two, and I think the nerves really just got to me near the end. And even though I wasn't even doing well, I only needed like a low nine to, I think like low nine to win on the last solve, because
yeah.
everyone else did pretty bad as well.
Yeah, it was like
But
insane to watch because it was just everyone doing so bad. Like
yeah,
it was pretty
I couldn't watch it,
unprecedented,
but
I'd say.
it was crazy. Yeah, so I couldn't watch it, but I saw the results after, obviously, and I was like, oh my god, like 10.3 to win. It was like 10.8 to
Yeah.
podium or something, which is
And
like,
like for context, what was like the previous round?
I'll say that again. Sorry. Oh.
What was the previous round? Just for context, like what did you need to
Okay.
win?
The previous round, it was also very bad except for Max. It was like
Okay.
8.9 Max got, and then I got second with like 10.9, which
Yeah.
was already a really bad average for me. Um, so it was, so I got like 11.3 or something in finals, and I got WPA on a good scramble, and it was like, I don't know, it just really crushed me for the rest of
Yeah.
it, I think, because I basically just had to do bad. I had to do bad to like win. I had to do awful to podium, and I couldn't even do either of those. So it was hard for
Yeah.
me.
It's
And
tough.
then immediately after that was 2x2 finals. So I was not
Yeah, I
there at
mean,
all for that.
like back to back rounds is just brutal on its
Yeah,
own, but
yeah,
then like considering how the first round went, it was just so much worse as well.
yeah. It was, yeah, like, and also 2x2 was very free as well. 2x2 was a crazy final. It was like 1.6 podium and 1.5 win, and Zane wasn't on the podium, Sujin
Yeah.
wasn't on the podium. It was pretty crazy. I wouldn't say the scrambles were even particularly bad or anything. Um, I don't know, but yeah, yeah, it was rough up there. And then after that 2x2 final, I think, I mean, I didn't do well. I think I got my first, so I had a streak of sub two averages that was like 25 rounds or something, and that broke the streak, that finals. But
Yeah.
like, I could not have expected myself to do very good in that. So after that, I think I kind of just took a little time. Uh, I sat with like my dad for a bit and just kind of, I was not like, I could not even like function after that.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad. And then
And
after
there was
that,
like three blind and then three by three finals, right?
yeah, so it was
Yeah.
very quick. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it was like OH really bad, 2x2 really bad. I'm like, okay, I have 3x3 finals, I guess. And I'd already been performing very poorly in 3x3 at this comp. Um, so I was kind of, I had kind of lost all hope at that point, which is not what you want to
No
do when
ideal.
I mean, you still have a national or continental championship final, like 3x3 final. Like this is the big event, and my mind was already gone from that.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I kind of just sat by myself for a while. Um, I, yeah, it was pretty rough, and after that, yeah, did 3x3 finals. I don't know. It was pretty good. It was like fine. Like I'm not
Yeah, it was a
unhappy with
good.
how I did. It was lucky, but like better than the
Well,
other two.
everyone's lucky
yeah.
in like a big final though. It's
Yeah,
normal.
that's how it goes. But man, yeah, it's just how it is. But I
Yeah.
guess we'll hope for better. Hope for better next year. Yeah, at
So do you
Worlds.
think it was just like you messed up one round and it kind of cascaded? Where
I think so. Yeah.
yeah,
Because I was solving good on 2x2, for most of NAC,
yeah,
and OH I was like it wasn't that bad, but like the round before wasn't great, and I think it kind of got into my head because I was like it was weird how I was doing bad because like the round before it was like pretty good scrambles and I got a bad average, and I was like I just felt like my turning just wasn't there, and then I think the same thing kind of happened in finals, and then yeah I think my mindset was just destroyed after that I think, and
yeah. And I mean,
just
like
couldn't do
back to
well.
back rounds is so hard to do well
Yeah,
in
I
anyway.
had no time to recover. Like after OH finals, I looked at WCA live. I think I went outside of like the doors of the venue and I like laid down on the floor for like 1 minute. And then they called 2x2 finals.
Yeah,
I was like, okay. Yeah, I was kind of screwed from the start on that one. So yeah.
yeah.
But
That's how it goes.
next year. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I can go for a topic now if we want.
Yeah, sure.
First thing I put was NAC finals. Talk about your sub 5 average that you got.
Right. Yeah, I mean
So,
that was pretty
yeah,
wild. Like,
yeah,
okay, for context for everyone, I won All Stars, which was kind of like the warm up comp for NAC with a 490 average in the final.
yeah.
And then I was like, okay, well that's
Decent,
nice, but like,
decent
you know,
time. Yeah,
yeah,
it's okay.
it's
Yeah,
a pretty
it's
good
fine.
time. But then
Yeah,
I was like, okay, well I won NAC. Now I have all the pressure in the world like coming into this because
right.
it's like I did well, so now I want to like keep doing well. I'm expected to win.
Yeah,
And then I start NAC with a 479 average, and it's like, okay,
yeah,
well,
that's
I
pretty
have
good.
two sub five averages in a row. Almost got ER round one. Like, what is
Oh
even
my god.
happening? And
Yeah,
then, well, like, my worst average of the comp in the next round, which was 5.3 something, still won the
yeah,
round. Then in
yeah,
the semi final, I was like, okay, well, I don't want to sit in some isolated room with no phone and no like contact with society for an hour and a half. So I should throw this round so I go lower, like I talked about on the last podcast. But
mm,
then I got to solve four after three good ones. I was like, well, like I want to throw, but I can't. Like my body
yeah,
won't let me throw. So I ended up getting a 502 average in the semifinal, and I was like,
yeah,
dude, no, I'm seed one. It's over. And so
yeah.
then I
Oh
sat
my
in this
god.
room with Max Spark for an hour and a half, and I go up to
Yep.
compete. And first solve, I like almost cube drop on the PLL, and I get a 4.9, I think, or a 4. I don't remember
Yeah,
what
I
the
saw
time
that
was.
you had like the one U perm thing,
Yeah, I
or
had the
like
U perm that does a
the
U2
good U
AUF.
perm, and then you had no AUF on that, and there was like
Yeah,
the last like R you kind of locked up, or like UR or
yeah, I
something.
think it's because usually, so this U perm, I finger trick it like this at the end.
Oh yeah, like a
And so this
yeah,
like push move makes me lock up a lot.
yeah, that makes
So I think
sense.
that's what happened more or less. I still got a 4. Then
Yeah,
I like shushed, but it wasn't at the crowd, which is what most people thought. It was at the announcer announcing Max's and mine and my
oh
times,
right,
because I
yeah,
think that shouldn't even be allowed in the regs, but whatever.
right,
So then that
yeah,
kind of threw me off balance. And next solve I got an 8. I just like forgot how to solve cross.
yeah,
And from that point onwards, it was just like, okay, if I think about anything besides the solve at hand, I'll just get too nervous because of the 8 and I'll fail.
hmm
So I just locked in extremely hard and I got a 4.9 average. So
yeah,
that's fire. And
yeah. So it worked out.
yeah, it was like my
Yeah,
first major win, which I had wanted to get for a very long time. So it felt
right.
amazing.
Because Euros 2 years ago,
Yeah.
Patrick beat you technically if you're going
Yeah.
by overall, and then what other? I guess you had Worlds 19, and then
Yeah,
Worlds
like
23.
Worlds 19, and then Worlds 23, yeah.
Yeah.
But then also
So
there were like a few other comps where Max was at them, and I never beat Max in any comp. So that was another thing I
yeah,
really wanted to do, like win a comp
right.
against Max.
Yeah.
Because
So
I
that
think
was
I was
pretty cool.
within
Yeah.
like point one of him 4 times or something. It was like
Oh wow.
insane.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the mental battle of
yeah.
you overcame the Max Park
The
barrier.
Max Park effect. Like
Yeah,
he
it's
just
crazy.
felt like unbeatable until that.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
definitely helped
it's
as well that I beat him in
nuts.
5x5 and 4x4 finals
Right.
the same day. Like I had
Hmm.
all the momentum going into that.
Yeah. Yeah, the momentum's big. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
huge.
it's pretty huge. Yeah.
Okay.
All
Um,
right.
have you ever had a moment in cubing where you feel like it's sort of like you can't even solve this cube anymore? Like you've forgotten how to do it, either from being really nervous or like practicing poorly?
Um, hmm. Okay, let me think. Yes, but like I wouldn't say that extreme, like forgot how to solve it almost. Like
Yeah.
I think I've just done poorly before just because of nerves, like but I feel like I'm usually not so bad that it's like ridiculous, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so like even in like OH finals or whatever in NAC and like 2x2, I still got like a low 2x2 average. That's not like it's not like I've forgotten all my algorithms and couldn't
Yeah. Yeah.
expect it all. Same with OH, it was still like 11.3, so it's like whatever. And then 3x3, yeah, I was so checked out at that point, but I still got like a 6.3 average and like a 4.5 single. So I don't
Yeah.
know. I think at that point, your autopilot kind of takes over in your brain, and it doesn't stop you from solving well. But I feel like you're not solving your best,
Yeah.
but you're so it's so ingrained in your head that I couldn't do it like worse than that. I guess.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think
I,
for me, like I remember at UK Champs 20, I think it was 2022.
yep.
Max Park was there, and so I was trying to
Hmm.
beat him.
Yeah.
Um,
That
and
was
I
when
think
you
I'd
guys
been
both.
practicing so much that I just forgot how to solve cross. Like,
Oh, jeez.
like basically the first 2 rounds I did okay, but then third round I like did adjacent cross on one of them, and
Yeah.
I think it like spiraled. It's like I think in gymnastics they have this thing like lost move syndrome. So essentially, when you
Oh,
overthink something, you like forget how to do it. Like your muscle memory just fails. That's
yeah.
happened to me quite a bit with like ZBLLs and stuff, but it's easy to relearn.
Okay.
But
Yeah, that makes
yeah, I think
sense.
especially when I practice a ton, like it's almost like it's so on autopilot, like solving cross, that your brain like forgets that it has to be solved correctly, and then you just do it wrong.
Right. Yeah. I get what you mean. I think
Yeah,
yeah, I did some similar stuff at like what was it? The Mall of America competition, All Stars. I didn't solve cross on like 2 out of the 15 solves or something.
oof. Yeah,
So,
it's
I don't
rough.
know. I don't know if it was like I think I was just not focused enough or something. I don't know. But that does happen. That UK comp, you guys both had world record average, right? When it
I
happened.
think so. Yeah, yeah, because
Yeah,
that was
that's
the
pretty
one
epic.
where Guinness World Records filmed a video of us. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That's what I knew it from, I think. Yeah. Pretty epic showdown. But
Yeah. We both did
yeah,
so
I
bad
think
in that final. It was crazy.
yeah. One for the ages. But he still
Yeah.
beat you
Yeah,
cuz
Max
you
won
had
with
that
like a
streak. Yeah.
6.1 average, and
Oh, okay.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
like a low six, and I also had low six, but just slightly
Hmm.
worse.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think okay, let's see if I got a topic here. Okay, so let's talk about so obviously right after NAC was Euros, one
Yeah.
week later. So we'll talk about the Euros finals and kind of how that played out in your mind. I know you did a little interview on the Euros stream, I think,
Yeah, but
about
that was
like
like
after that,
my brain
but it
wasn't
was
working anymore,
right.
so
Yeah, it
it's
was
yeah.
directly after the final. So now that you've had some time to process what happened there, uh, explain all your thoughts and your emotions and everything about
Yeah.
that.
I mean, okay, let's start with like traveling from NAC to Euros because
Yeah.
I was gonna travel with you and your family,
Yeah.
and then the morning after NAC on Monday, we scheduled to meet outside our rooms at like 7:30.
Yeah.
So at 7:30, I message in the group chat like I'm ready to go, and then
Hmm.
I meet your dad outside, and he's like, "Yeah, so um, Joseph is sick, and everyone decided not to go, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna drive you to Chicago, and then I'm
Yeah.
gonna drive back, and you're going alone." I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah.
um,
So that's a
yeah,
pretty shocking change of
yeah.
plans to
Well,
throw on
well, I
you.
was like locked in. Okay, gotta get to
Yeah.
Euros, so trying not to
Yeah.
think about it.
Hmm.
But when I got to Lisbon, because okay, my travel was drive to Chicago with your dad, then fly
Hmm.
from Chicago to Lisbon, and then from Lisbon to Bilbao, and then take like 3 buses from Bilbao to Pamplona.
Hmm.
So by the time I got to Lisbon, my flight was landing at like 6 a.m. or something. And then when I got there, the layover was 7 hours or almost 8 hours.
Yeah.
So I was really tired. I was like, okay, I don't want to go out of the airport. That's just
Yeah.
like too much work.
Hmm. Yeah. I
um,
think I'd do the same thing.
yeah. So I stayed in the airport, but then on like the 5th or 6th hour, even after having a lot of coffee, I was like, I'm gonna fall asleep. And usually I don't fall asleep at airports because I'm like scared of losing my stuff.
Yeah.
But I was so tired that I was like, okay, well, I'll just set an alarm for like every 10 minutes, and then I'll sleep, wake up after 10 minutes, like check I still got everything, and go back
Yeah.
to sleep basically.
Oh,
So I
geez.
did
Yeah.
that
That
for like
sounds.
an hour and a half,
Oh my God.
and then
Yeah.
my flight to Bilbao got delayed, and then I ended up getting there, and it was like I got to Bilbao at well, pretty much midnight, and I was really tired,
Hmm.
so I just went to sleep.
Yeah.
Or to Pamplona, sorry.
Right.
So
Right.
that made the
Yeah.
jet lag like not as bad because I was going to sleep at a reasonable time,
Right.
but it still like felt weird, and I didn't really realize it at the time because of like the adrenaline of competing and stuff. But after the competition, I realized like yeah, I was definitely jet lagged a lot, and so
Yeah.
that
That's
wasn't
probably
yeah, it
yeah.
wasn't very good.
Pretty crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think because of the jet lag, I wasn't like having too much fun at the comp, and if I'm not having fun, I don't really do well. So
Right.
then,
Yeah.
yeah, in the final, it was just like so many feelings because I had been grinding so hard for so long.
Yeah.
Um, and then I didn't know if I'd won when I did the last solve. So I stood up and I just started searching for this in the crowd, like scanning,
Yeah.
and I immediately saw it from like 2 people. So
Yeah.
I started celebrating. But yeah, it was
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, hard to explain.
Yeah. So it was a pretty crazy final to watch.
Yeah.
So it was like it seemed like a lot of people had like some good starts maybe, or they were like kind of on pace, but everybody
Yeah.
kind of just fell apart near the end of their average. So there was only, besides like Timofey,
Yeah.
who did like 595 average or whatever. Um,
590. Yeah, I think 595.
yeah, and then you got like 592 or
Yeah.
something. It was crazy. Yeah, so we were like, okay, going into like the last two people, it was like, okay, I think you're gonna pull off an easy win here because I didn't know what was going on because I was like, you'd been so clutch in the All Stars and NAC, like there's no
Yeah.
way
But
it doesn't
also, I
happen,
was
and you
doing
did
way worse
clutch.
throughout the whole competition. Like,
Yeah,
all my results were just such a downgrade from NAC. It was
right.
crazy.
Yeah, but then it was so yeah, it looked like you had like some good solutions and you kind of started the solves well, but then it kind of your turning kind of fell apart at the end, and that was
Yeah.
because of your cube was too fast, you said?
Yeah, so that was another thing that happened. Like, in the waiting area, my cube just sped up towards the end of warm
Yeah,
up. I think I probably warmed up too much. Like, that was
right.
probably part of
Yeah.
why that happened.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I should still be able to turn it fine. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
it makes it a bit harder, but that was like inexcusable.
Yeah. So it was pretty crazy. So it was like you were doing pretty like you were doing like fine for
Yeah,
the
the
first
starts
like
were really good, but then I would
four.
just fall apart at the end of the solve. Like,
Yeah.
because, yeah, I was just not like focused. I was thinking, oh, this is a good solve, this is a good solve, instead of like
Yeah, too
solve the cube.
excited. Yeah. So then on your fifth solve you needed like 6 flat to win or something.
Yeah,
And that
six
was
flat.
so that number was everywhere, like all over the chat and everything. It's like this is what he needs, this is what he needs.
Yeah,
And
and I
then
had no idea.
yeah, it
Yeah,
started so well, and then you had like a T perm or something at the end, and
yeah.
there's just some big like
I think I
lockups.
got to the T perm at like low four or something. So
Yeah,
like normally a
should
T
have been
perm for
like
a top cuber takes like 0.6 maybe.
uh
So I should get like at least a second under the time I needed. But I
yeah,
had this
yeah,
massive lockup during the T perm and I got 5.89. So it
yeah.
was
It was, oh
extremely
my God.
close.
I mean, yeah, it made it for a very entertaining last solve to watch because it was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, dude. So I was like, oh yeah, he's got it, and then oh wait, he doesn't have it, and then you did get it.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool to watch, and I'm happy you got the win, even with a subpar performance there.
Yeah. It took me a
Yeah,
while to like um be satisfied with that result because
yeah,
at first I was obviously really like relieved that I still won. But
yeah,
then I looked at everyone's results and then my times. I was like, "Oh my God, I did so bad." Like
yeah. It's just,
and so
yeah,
yeah, for quite a while I was really mad at myself for doing so poorly. But then I
uh-huh.
managed to just be like, "Okay, well, I got the win.
Got
Like
over it.
enjoy it for
Yeah,
now and then get better results in 2 years from now."
yeah. It's okay. It's where it's about the end result and not the journey in this case.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sometimes, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, there was a moment there. I think so we said 2 years ago Patrick beat you at the last Euros.
Yeah.
He started his average with like a 5.2, and I was like,
Yeah.
dude, he's coming back. It's like it's
Yeah, he
Patrick's
told
gonna
me
do it again.
actually after the competition, like he got the 5.2 and he was like, "No way, it's happening again!"
Yeah,
Like,
I know.
oh,
Yeah,
and then
like
yeah,
everyone probably
he
had the
failed
same
solve
thought.
two, and he was like, "Okay, it's
Yeah,
actually normal."
back to reality. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
You got a little topic.
Yeah. Uh,
Yep.
do you believe in jinxing, as in saying that you'll get a certain result or something, and then like that makes it just not happen?
Um. Hmm. I think no. I don't think so. I think it's all just kind of nothing matters besides your actual selves, right? So
Yeah.
like, uh, I don't know. I guess, that is strange. I guess I just try not to think about like what result I should get or what result I think I'm gonna get before I solve. But I guess if you do say, "Oh, I'm gonna go get whatever average," and then you go compete and you have so much pressure on yourself just to
Yeah.
get that average, it's like it probably does have some effect, and I guess it probably varies a lot depending on the person. But um, so I guess I do believe in jinxing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I think like in
I
a
just I
mental
just try to
way, it
avoid it.
definitely
Yeah,
works that way.
yeah,
Like
for sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
when people set goals for themselves, for example, it
yeah,
usually doesn't work out very well.
right. Yeah, it's yeah, especially for officially in like big competitions and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
It's
That's what I
like,
mean.
of course I want to podium and win OH, whatever. Of course I want to podium in 2x2. Of course I want to podium in 3x3. But I don't tell myself that I'm going to do that or
Yeah,
like that I have to do that. And it still sucks when I don't get it. And it's kind of in the back of my mind. But it's like, I don't know. I'll just do what I can and
yeah, exactly.
try my best. That's my only goal. Usually have fun is the goal I tell people
Yeah,
when they ask me. And
exactly.
I think that's
And
true.
I
I had a
think
lot of fun in NAC. Yeah.
it's fine to have more broad goals, like I want to be a certain speed or like I want to improve by a certain amount.
Right.
But if it's
Yeah.
something where like you have to do something specific at a specific competition, that like never works out well.
Yeah. I think the consistency to be able to do something like that is very hard to attain. It's like
Yeah,
over time you can do anything pretty much, but like yeah, just that one moment that you have to do this goal, it's just like I don't ever want to set myself up to be in that position,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So it's yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so actually related to that, what do you think about the warm up competition curse? Have you heard of
Oh,
this?
so yes, but explain it for the people
Yeah,
watching.
so basically the idea is that usually when there's a major competition like Euros or NAC or Worlds, there'll be a warm up competition the weekend before somewhere nearby.
Mhm.
And the
Yeah.
idea of this is that if you do well at the warm up competition, you're not going to do well in the major competition. And
Hmm.
so some examples of that are like warm up Sydney 2019. The podium was Felix, Max, and me, and none of us podiumed at Worlds, even though
Yeah.
like at least Felix and Max were clear favorites to win.
Yep.
And there have been some other examples as well.
Yeah. So the warm up curse, I do see it because I think it kind of puts in. It's almost like jinxing in a
Yeah,
way as well. We're like, okay, I won the warm up competition, so why would I not
yeah.
win
The
the
expectation
big
to win again
competition?
is just
Yeah.
so insane.
Yeah. It's like I guess I don't have much experience with that because like for like NAC they usually don't do if it is a
Yeah,
warm up competition it's probably like a local like it's just like a normal comp not like a warm up type thing. And if there is, I didn't go to it. There was one in like Minnesota,
yeah,
but there was nowhere near the level of competitiveness at that one than the actual NAC.
yeah,
But I guess All Stars was kind of a
yeah,
warm
yeah.
up
All Stars
competition
was
with the
like
three
the
by
actual
three.
warm up comp.
So yeah, I guess that didn't really get in my head. Well, I mean, obviously I didn't podium at
Yeah,
All Stars, so I didn't, you know, have the warm up curse. But I guess you would see. I guess it's person to person probably
yeah,
because
yeah.
as everything. So yeah, you did good at both. Luke
Yeah,
Dreiser
but
podiumed at both of them.
that was like
Uh,
after I won All Stars, Felix messaged me something along the lines of
I saw.
"Good job on the win, but you gotta break the warm up curse now."
Yeah.
So yeah,
Um,
and I mean I kind of believe in it as well. So that was definitely something going into NAC. I was like, okay, I need to
yeah.
like keep my expectations in check because
Right.
like it's very easy to get into your head that you just got a 4.9 average and now you're gonna win
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. It's yeah. I guess I've never had it to that level
Yeah,
because for the limited amount of warm up comps I've been to, I think it was that and like warm up Sydney were basically all I did. And
yeah,
I didn't even make finals at warm up Sydney, but I was a lot worse back then. But yeah. Um, and then All Stars I didn't do that well, so it was like I had nothing to lose. So, but I still didn't do that good. But whatever. Yeah. Yeah, it's probably real.
yeah. It
Yeah.
definitely
It's
like
probably real.
it not this is not really a warm up curse, but it definitely did something at Euros. Like, winning
Hmm.
two big comps in a row and then going to Euros is like the same
Yeah.
mental aspect of like I just dominated these two comps. Like, there's no way I lose this.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
it was pretty close.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty close. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that definitely, yeah, I think it's real.
yeah.
All right, let's see what I've got here. Uh, so would you like to talk about the GAN SSL competition?
Oh yeah.
So,
Well,
let's see. All right, yeah, go ahead. What were you gonna
okay.
say?
Well, it's hard to even like explain what it is like, but basically, GAN hosts this competition every year, and they started in 2022.
Hmm.
So the first year was online, the second year was in person. So what they do is they have their smart cubes, and they host the whole competition using smart cubes, and it's 1v1 matches. So it's way better to watch than like a WCA comp.
Yeah, it's
And
pretty
competed.
exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So last year they had 500 spectators and or well spectator like seats, and it was filled.
Yeah.
So this year I think they had 1,000 spots, and I'm
Crazy.
not sure if it filled. It didn't look like it, but I wasn't paying too much
Oh, okay.
attention. But yeah, it's a pretty insane comp. Um,
Hmm.
Yihang won this year, as he should.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's pretty crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
So basically in the final, so the format for this year for the matches was uh first to two set wins, and each set was just like Monkey League, so solve versus solve, and if you win a solve, you get a point. And then
Hmm.
first to 4 points wins the set. So I started with like a 3.5, Yihan got a 6. But then I got
Yeah.
a 4 flat or something around that, and Yihan got a 3. Then I got a
Oh my
4.2,
God.
and Yihan still beat me. I think that's more or less how I went. And
Yeah.
yeah, after that, he like won the set, And then second set, there were some issues with the judges for the final, so I just got like distracted and I got like a 9 and stuff. So yeah, didn't
Yeah.
really give him much competition in the second set. So yeah,
Right.
he rolled everyone
So it's just, and
essentially.
that was it.
Yeah.
So I guess, so they did the double elimination bracket.
Yeah. Right.
So Yang was on the winning side and you were on the
Yeah.
losing side. So
Yeah.
Yang
So
just had to win one set and then it was over.
yeah. Because well, he had to win one match. So
Or one
if I
match.
had
Yeah,
won
yeah,
a
one
match
match.
because I was on the losers side, um, I'd have to win another one to actually win the thing. Because it's like
Yeah.
it's kind of like in a double elimination bracket. The way it works is whoever loses twice loses, not whoever wins. Like you have to
hmm
lose twice to go out. So then when it gets to finals, there's what's called a bracket reset. So you have to win
Yeah.
twice if you're coming in from the losers. So yeah, for
Yeah.
me, I lost to Xuanyi in the first round of day two because I was seed two out of my group because had a disastrous group performance, losing to
Oh, jeez.
Yufeng Du.
Yeah.
He did very well at the comp.
hmm
I thought, but yeah. So I was seed two going against Xuanyi round one, lost that, and then had a massive break. I think I didn't have another match until after lunch or something.
Right.
So I had a long time to think about it and change my mindset. Because I think I was still kind of in that Euros mindset of like, I have to do well. I was really stressed. And
hmm
then over lunch, Amanda, Gang's wife, told me like, as long as you're having fun, you're doing great, basically.
Oh, that's
And that
nice.
like
Yeah.
flipped a switch in my head, and I did really well
Yeah.
from that point on. I think in the sixth place match against Roy Hung, it came down to a decider solve for so it was like 1-1 in sets and then 3-3 in solves. And then I
Yeah. That
won
was a
that.
crazy, that was a
Yeah, it
crazy
was
match.
wild. I think I got a 4 on the last solve, so it was pretty good.
hmm
Then one versus Maddie, and then I had a semi-final versus Xuanyi, so a rematch from the morning, and I
Yep.
won that 2-0 in sets, so that was really nice. Like getting
Yeah.
back at him. Oh yeah, he got
Yeah.
third, so he did really well. Like getting third in SSL at like 7 years old is just incredible.
Pretty. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. Yeah. So yeah, you were on like an insane hot streak of,
Yeah,
just knocking everybody down. But then you're set up with the impossible situation where you have to beat Yihang twice to
yeah.
win. And it's like, man, that's, yeah,
It's just not
it's,
winnable.
yeah,
He's too good.
literally, yeah, it's impossible. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
but
I
yeah,
think
came home with the second.
yeah.
So,
When I won against Xuanyi, it felt like winning the comp for me
yeah,
because I knew I wouldn't really beat Yang. Like there's just no way.
right. Yeah, it's,
Because I
you've
mean,
done
in
all you
like an
can
average of
achieve.
five format, like WCA, maybe I can beat him because it's more random.
Right.
But when it's like sets and you have to beat him twice, there's no way.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's, yeah.
And then another thing that was interesting was Xuanyi uses ZBLL and ZBLS. Like he knows
Yes.
those AUG sets in full.
hmm
So at one point I was learning ZBLS, but I only learned a few sets, and I also knew full ZBLL at one point. But then I stopped using Soons.
Yep.
But at this competition, like we saw Xuanyi, and so all the international competitors were discussing about like full ZB, and
hmm
essentially the consensus now is like it's pretty good. So
Yeah.
the moment the competition was over and the ceremony was over, I went to Matty because he had like screenshotted all of the ALGs.
Oh.
I went to him and I was like, Matty, pull up the ALGs. I'm learning.
Yeah.
So
It's
I think I've
immediate.
learned like 30 or 40 ALGs since the comp ended.
Wow.
And
That's pretty
yeah,
crazy.
so I know the scenes again, and I've been learning the ZBLS ALGs. It's pretty fun.
Jeez. Yeah, just immediately on the grind. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I was gonna ask you actually, what do you think about ZBLS and ZBLL?
uh yeah, it's probably good. No, it's
Would you
like
learn it?
whew, in I would like to, but we'll see if I ever get myself to. I'm in a bit of an alg learning moment right now, but I
Mm-hmm.
was learning like skew algs. Uh,
Okay.
because so that was like the first algs I've learned in a while. But
Yeah.
I was like,
NS or
I'm
what?
not a yeah, I was learning some NS and like
Yeah.
I learned Sarah's advanced. I only did intermediate, which
Yep.
is really stupid of me. But
That's crazy.
yeah. So I was like, okay, this is kind of fun. But then I did that for like 4 or 5 days, learning like a few each day, and then I kind of fell out of it. But I was realizing I feel like a lot of the ZVs that I don't know are way easier to recognize than these stupid NS cases I'm trying to learn.
Yeah.
So I should probably just do that. But yeah, I think I definitely do want to grind 3x3 before worlds.
Yeah.
Um, and learning some ZV is definitely
Yeah.
gonna help me there. I don't know about ZBLS yet. Like
Yeah.
uh,
Well, if you don't know
Xuanyi,
ZBLL, then it doesn't really
yeah,
make
it's like
sense. Yeah.
yeah. But we've seen Xuanyi. He's like he has like instant recognition time with the ZBLS. I think it's probably like the future is definitely with him. I think he's nuts. And we saw his 481 average officially or something.
Yeah. He got it like
And
the
then
weekend before um
that's crazy.
SSL, I
Yeah.
think, something like that.
Yeah. How would a if you saw I don't know if you how much you saw his like solves in person. Like
Yeah.
how is his like turning compared to like Ehang?
Well, compared to Yihang, it's like I
Well,
don't know. Only
it's
Royhan
awful.
can even
Yeah.
compare to him. But
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, his turning is like okay, but
Yeah.
it's I tried racing him at the airport when I got there.
Hmm.
I think we did maybe like, I don't know, 10, 15 solves, and I won
Uh-huh.
one of them.
Oh my God.
So he had like all the aura going into that first round on Sunday.
Aura.
It
Oh
just
my
felt like
God.
he was unbeatable, like even more than Max before I managed to beat
That
him.
is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, but like when I was racing him, I was listening to his cube, and it just sounded like he was doing so few moves, and it was like
Hmm.
I could tell that it was like he was predicting his first like probably three pairs every time, then doing
Yeah.
ZBLS and then ZBLL. So it just felt like he was doing three steps essentially on the
Yeah,
cube. It was
it's
just so insane.
yeah, that's pretty crazy. So I guess yeah, it's like he's 7 years old. It's,
Yeah,
I just can't get over that. It's like he's what 3 years younger than Yang. So
yeah,
it's
something like
like
that.
he's when Yang was 7. I remember because it would go like every once in a while. This was over like COVID. You would see, oh, this
Yeah,
7-year-old got like a 7-second average. It's like
yeah.
wow, insane. Now this 7-year-old is getting a 4.8 average in third at
Yeah,
SSL and third in the world. Is he third in the world?
yeah, he
Yeah,
is.
yeah. That's so he's got 3 years to improve before he's Yang's current age,
Yeah,
and then if he keeps cubing for until he's like I don't know however long he's got like 10 years until he's like my age, 11
yeah.
years till he's my age. Um, yeah, it's just like I don't even want to think about it.
Well,
I don't
yeah.
know. It's pretty
But
crazy.
I'm interested to see how he develops because it's like he knows a lot of algs and he's
Hmm.
really good at predicting stuff and that like really carries him. But he doesn't
Yeah,
seem to be as good at like other parts of solving compared to like Yihang and Royang and me.
yeah,
So like I think a lot of the other top cubers seem to think like maybe he's just like not as talented at those parts. But for me, I think like he's just 7 years old. Like he can't be good at everything.
yeah. He's got time to improve
Yeah,
as well.
but yeah, we'll
So,
see.
ooh, yeah, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
nuts. All right. I had another question about the SSL.
yeah.
So I was watching this stream, or I was watching. So Matthew Marinick did a like English version of it where it was Dylan Miller and Manu commentating,
Mm-hmm.
uh, like over the footage from GAN, and it was it seemed there was a lot of issues with like desync and like um, you couldn't really tell what was going on until it showed you what the time was basically. Like
Yeah,
you would and a lot of the times like the timer wouldn't stop or like the cube wasn't solved on the screen when it was actually solved in real life.
yeah.
Like what was there any how was that in your experience? Like yeah, how did that
I
go?
don't think I had too many issues with it in
Hmm.
my matches, but yeah, there was some drama with that. Like people trying to get advantageous rulings and stuff.
Okay.
Um, but I mean, GAN had rules for that happening like before the comp started, so it wasn't that bad. Like they had procedures for dealing with it.
Okay.
It just took a while to sort out and
Yeah.
stuff, but I think it was
Right.
mostly fine. Just a bit
Yeah.
annoying.
And then there was another thing. So when you were scrambling your cube,
Oh yeah,
you a lot of the times you would see people scramble like up to like three moves left at the
yeah, we're
scramble
like
or two
one move
or
left.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah, one move. Um, what was the protocol on that? Because you're supposed to have 15 seconds of inspection,
yeah,
but you technically had like 45 seconds to scramble it minus a move and then look at the cube and
yeah.
then do the last move.
So I
So
think,
how did that work? Yeah.
well, I'm not sure if people were actually inspecting.
Yeah.
I know I wasn't. So like sometimes
Right.
what I'd do is I'd leave the last move and then like cover the key with my hands and just like
And then like
breathe.
take a second to like
Yeah,
compose yourself. Yeah,
yeah,
that's what I thought I mostly saw. Like I was trying to watch what was happening with that, and it looked like most people were just like giving themselves like a breather for a sec.
yeah. Because
And I
essentially,
think if I were in that, I wouldn't do that for like the spirit
yeah,
of the competition. Like, yeah,
yeah, yeah. I mean, also it's like distracting because you're focusing on like scrambling in a weird way and stuff. So I found it just threw me
right.
off balance. But
Yeah, yeah.
the main reason for it is that like if you start scrambling late and then you miss scramble, or
Mm.
like if you wait to compose yourself and then start scrambling late because of that, and
Oh,
then you
right.
miss scramble, then you could DNF on scrambling time.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think that's why people were doing it.
Okay. That makes
But yeah,
sense. Yeah, because I guess I was thinking like, why not just wait before the scramble? But I didn't think about the miss scramble pressure was
yeah,
not something I had factored in. That's
yeah,
pretty crazy.
and
Yeah.
yeah, I think there are a few instances of like people bugging out where you'd scramble it and you'd get another scramble. So
Okay.
yeah,
Well, interesting. Curious.
yeah.
Curious.
So how was your experience viewing Euros and SSL on stream?
They were both pretty good. It was they both had their, like difficulties. So Euros was like it was a pretty good stream. There was it was crashing a lot. Um, and then the commentators were like a little quiet at times, but like I can't really complain. It's like if I can see the people solving, like that's all I really care about. Um, and then they had some pretty cool, like not overhead, more like over the shoulder angles at Euros. I don't know how that was as a competitor, but it was pretty cool to see it less of like a completely top down, but like you could actually probably see the solve a bit better maybe. But
Yeah, the
I
one
don't
issue
know.
of that was it was really wide angle cameras, so
Yeah.
you had to zoom in on the stream basically to see what was
Oh,
actually
okay.
happening from
Yeah.
like my rewatching of it. But yeah,
Hmm.
like if they had better cameras set up for it, it was really good, and you didn't really bump
Yeah.
into the cameras since they were on your side. So yeah,
Right.
that was really nice.
Okay.
Um,
And then the SSL was like it was good. It was pretty much it felt like the same as like last year pretty much.
yeah, it's pretty
Uh
similar.
Pretty similar. Yeah, it was just like well, obviously I couldn't understand what they were saying when I wasn't watching like the English one, but it was like it looked pretty high production quality,
Yeah,
pretty nice. Yeah, and you could see what was happening, so it was good.
yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing I wish they did better on the SSL stream was sound. Because like
Okay.
one thing was they had the same song playing throughout the whole comp, including in the
Oh.
venue.
Oh
But
no.
also, I don't know if this was the same on the Chinese stream, but at least on the English stream, there was no audio from within the venue, so you
Okay.
couldn't hear the crowd roaring or the competitors screaming or anything. So yeah,
Hmm.
they missed out a bit there, but it's pretty good.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be cool to implement. Yeah, like you couldn't I guess I didn't watch it like all of it, but I didn't see many shots of like the crowd or like the whole venue really. Um, but with it, that venue was pretty crazy, you said, or
So
how was it?
okay, so the building it was in was like huge.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable where we were. And then the room they had us in was also pretty large. Like
Pretty
it
big.
didn't fill, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
So maybe a bit too big actually, because
Yeah.
you want the atmosphere to be like packed.
Right.
Um, but yeah, it was a nice venue and it was
Pretty cool.
connected to a hotel, so it was great. Um,
Yeah, that's good.
yeah. I think
Yeah.
one last topic I have for today is
Okay.
at Euros the scramble situation for clock and
Oh yeah,
megaminx
I was
finals.
gonna. I had that written down too.
How was that on stream watching it?
It was pretty crazy. So it was a lot of confusion because it was like, so they had just done Mega. You saw it was a pretty. It wasn't crazy, but Timofey got like an ER, and it was like
Yeah, your
really. It was cool
average.
to see. He destroyed everyone in the
Yeah,
first iteration of the Mega Finals. And it was like, wow, this kid is crazy.
yeah,
And
and
then
then
they started
a
the clock
Polish
finals.
competitor got third, I think,
Yeah,
as well. So that'll come in later in the story. Can
yeah.
keep going.
And then I think Aiden Granger got second, which that also comes into play. But the so like they started clock finals on the stream, I think, and then it seemed like maybe like one solve or two solves had happened for a few people, and then I think they just stopped it or something. I don't completely remember, but they kind of went to like the commentator angle, I think,
Yeah,
and then after a little bit, they announced like, okay, there's been like a mistake. We have to restart the clock finals because they were
yeah,
using the same scrambles. And then
from
they
the
kind of waited for a
semifinal.
little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, they used the semifinal scrambles. And then they waited a bit, and then they made another announcement. Okay, we accidentally used the same mega scrambles as semifinals as well. And then it was like, oh my gosh, like it was you kind of hated to see it, especially as like a top competitor because like the finals are done, mega finals were done, right? And
yeah.
it's like
And someone got a record
if
as well to win it. Like
yeah,
it's
and somebody got the European record to win at the European Championships, like
yeah,
so pretty devastating if that were me. Like I had already done well in a final, which is so hard to come by anyway,
yeah,
and then it's stripped away. It sucks. But the way they did it on the stream, so they had to redo Mega and Clock, but they had only done like two solves of Clock or one solve. Uh, so since they already had the Clock competitors there, I think they did Clock first, right? I'm
I
pretty
think
sure.
so. I don't really remember,
I think they
but
did.
yeah,
So they did the Clock finals, and then I wonder how that was for people who like maybe they did the first solve and did really bad, or
yeah,
like did really good on the first solve and then, oh, I guess yeah. um, so yeah, they finished the clock finals right then, and then
and then there's
they
also
called the
a
mega people
person
back up.
for megaminx who like had left the venue,
Yeah,
and
Lucas
then
from Canada. Yeah.
yeah, and I think they had him do like a different set of scrambles because he got there
Yeah.
late. It was just so
hmm
insane.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. So yeah. So they did the clock. So clock happens. I think it would suck as a clock competitor. You don't want to do any solves that don't count, obviously, but it
Yeah,
was a lot worse for the mega competitors. So like you saw Timofey, he looked pretty at this point when you were watching the live stream, you were seeing him solve and you're like, okay, this kid is like unbeatable. Like there's no way like it seems
yeah,
like pressure doesn't phase him at all. Like he has like
yeah,
no
yeah.
nerves
He
it
was
seems.
performing extremely well at this comp.
Yeah, and then you saw the mega finals had to be redone, and then he did a lot worse on the second one.
Yeah,
I think he still got second, but
yeah, he got
Aiden
second,
got
but he
European
went from getting
champion.
European record and winning to getting second. Like, oh, it's just
Yeah,
not good.
so yeah, it really sucked. But I mean, he's going to be around for the next Euros, I'm
Yeah,
sure. So, and he'll probably take home the title there. Um, but it's yeah, just sucked to see. And then what was it? Who got third in Europe in the
the
final
first
redo?
one it
I
was
don't remember.
Janzik, the Polish guy.
hmm
I don't remember
I
if
don't
he did it again
remember
or not, but I
the other.
remember one thing. Like when,
I think he might have gotten it
yeah, I
again.
think he might have
Yeah,
done it twice. So he podiumed in the same event in the same year twice. So
pretty
insane
crazy.
achievement.
Yeah, the double
But
podium.
yeah, I remember when they announced that they had to redo it. He came up to me and he was like, "Yo, Tymon, do you think I can podium in the same event in the same year
Oh my
twice?"
god. Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
And then also
Yeah,
like the 7x7 final was after that for me. So this is kind of why I was asking you what it was like on stream because I wasn't,
right.
really focusing on it. But
Yeah, you weren't really
so all the
watching. Yeah.
7x7 competitors are warming up and the clock final finishes and we're like, okay, it's time to go. And then
hmm
they're like, oh, actually, we
Oh,
did the wrong
yeah. Nope.
scrambles. So
Yeah, so
yeah,
that
we were
probably
sitting
sucked for you
there
as
for
well
like
because it
yeah,
yeah,
you
you
go.
had to wait way longer than you thought
Yeah,
for the Big Cube finals, and then yeah, it's unfortunate. I don't know.
yeah. I
It
don't think it
happened,
changed
so
the result too much because Kieran won, I got
yeah,
second, and I think,
right.
or maybe Team FA didn't get third actually. I'm not sure,
I don't know.
but yeah,
Yeah, pretty
it
crazy.
wasn't too disastrous for us at least. But the
Yeah.
megaminx was crazy.
Yeah, that really sucks that happened. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well,
All
thanks
right.
for listening, everyone.
Well, yeah, thank you.
See you at some point.
Yeah.